it's unfortunate what you went through with your brother. But to get out and to fight, like by throwing that conference, you're fighting. Like you're fighting. It's just, and then when we're doing the hope and the healing, we're doing it together.
Yeah.
We're all going through our battles. We're all got these internal struggles that we're facing. And what it really showed me was how much pride that we carry around. That's what was brought to me. That was a revelation that was brought to me because he revealed that to me. And then I started to think about that. And I was like, I'm a very prideful man, and then I started thinking about like why people don't receive help is because of our pride.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to ask for help. We don't want to show vulnerability. America's all about strength and I'm doing this. And, it's like, no, America needs to show vulnerability because the only way that you can grow is through weakness. Exactly. And that was a scripture that he revealed to me as well is Jesus says that my power is made perfect in weakness. So I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses. So Christ's power may rest on me. And I was like, man, that's what we're doing wrong as men. We're not talking. We're keeping it all in, or we're numbing it, or we're keeping ourselves busy, which, we know the acronym for that is being under Satan's yoke. Yep. And so then we're not really dealing with our trauma and things that have happened to us. Right. So you have to identify the trauma and you have to face it and you have to say, I need to get through this. I need to heal from this. And it's happening to everybody. It's mankind in general. Yeah, it is. Like I see it in my own family. Yeah. But I see the power that God has, and it's happening like right before my eyes. I mean, like he's performing miracles. To deny it, to deny the miracles, it kind of reminds me of Bible study. Like last week we did the teacher was speaking on Moses, and she was saying how Pharaoh had so much pride, even though Moses was performing these miracles in front of him and protecting the Israelites, and the Egyptians were struggling because of Pharaoh's pride. And it was like 10 plagues hit. And he just wouldn't recognize God's power. That's all he had to do. Like all he had to do was recognize God's power. And then what that just did something to me. I'm like, wow, that's what men are doing wrong. We're not recognizing the power of God. So he will give you a hard time eventually. You might think it's good right now, but he will humble you. Yeah. If you don't recognize his power, and it's not out of spite. Yeah. It's just, it's like, that's how everything's held together is humility. It is. And then I look at us and I'm like, wow, we have like pride parades right in front of us. So it's like, like we're the signs are there. He's showing us like, this is a result of you guys not talking. This is a result of you numbing yourself with the alcohol or smoking, or, staying plugged into money. Like, look, your daughters and your sons, look what's happening. They're turning to each other. Instead they're just looking for love any way that they can get it. That's what I see. So like I don't judge them. Like they just want to be loved. And they've never, like, say for instance, like what you just said, it's like never experienced like true love. And I started to realize that in my own life. I'm like, man, my parents, they love me, but they love the way they knew how, but they had no relationship with God. So they weren't giving me whole love. They were giving me these broken pieces and broken pieces, man, they cut deep, and that's what was happening to me. I knew something was wrong. Yeah. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. And I always felt this hole, and I was always trying to fill it. It was never enough sex. It was never enough drugs. It was never enough alcohol. It was never enough money. I was always going to need more. But then as soon as I started building that relationship with God, I was like, wow, now it just overflows. Yeah. Like I got, so much, like that hole is filled and it's like overflowing. Yeah. And the more you plug into him, the more it just keeps overflowing.
That's that joy.
That's that joy.
That joy, that deep within, that joy unspeakable.
And we need this.
Yes, we do.
We need this. This fellowship. Like, this is what we need. And like, we need men to look at women as your mothers and your sisters in respect, because your actions really do throw people off course. You can throw people off their path if you're not thinking correctly. And it's been a long, I take full accountability. I was not always like this, like you said, I had to have my mind like renewed, and still it takes work, like every day. You still got to stay plugged in. You need those messages like going into your brain every day. Yeah. Because we can get off track again. Like, we might think we have it today, and then all of a sudden tomorrow,
like, whoo.
Yeah, something happens, and we get shooken, or shaken up, It's like, but yeah, I'm just like, man, I'm so thankful that you guys came on and like shared this story, because there's just stuff like this, I think one of you said it, if not all of you said it, but this is the result of obedience. So like trusting him and loving him, and just letting things go to follow him, brings us to these places. So it was all of a process of us doing stuff differently, to letting stuff go and being obedient to bring us to that place. And Miss Jones, she is very obedient, and like, for her to be there to say the right words to you, to break that trauma bond that was in your mind that was stopping you from growth. It was just a few, but isn't that great how God works though?
That puzzle pieces just all came together, and I wouldn't have never imagined things to flow like that. I never knew things were going to be like that. I really didn't know what was going to happen. You know what I mean? I just knew that because the fight was so great, something great had to, or as I would say, something's about to go down. You know what I mean? I knew it had to be something that's falling in place. And I was thinking about what you were saying about how, people want the tangible, or how they feel about the world, how the world presents things. That's why that scripture, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. Because that thing is permanent that's in me.
Yes.
That stuff out in the world is not, and that's why we get so disappointed in one another when we don't live up to the standards we expect for one another, or if the job doesn't pan through, or if or something else falls to pieces. We get so devastated because we're so focused on the worldly mindset. But then when we receive him, and then we realize that he's so great, and he's decided that he wants to live within me and be with me and connect with me, and then that thing that's in me is going to pull on you, and then it's going to pull on you, so then we all going to interconnect, and then that thing is going to grow, and then we're going to go out there in the world, and then we're going to tell everybody else. Don't get me started.
Yes, no, keep going, please. I love this. Yo, this is so beautiful. Like, oh,
it just hit me. I was like, greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. Because when we're going to overshadow and spread that love and spread that healing and that hope, so that others can realize that we've been there. Yeah. Every phase of whatever you may claim that you've gone through, we've been there. We've experienced that. And that's another thing, because if we've gone through what we've gone through, somebody you don't know. Yes, I do. Let me tell you my story.
Yeah.
You've been through that? Mm-hmm.
He loves when you can relate.
Yes. Yeah. And one girl told me that in one of the trauma groups that I led. I looked at her and she was like, because she was real young. I was like, because y'all want what's real. She was like, yep. I said, okay, Father. So but that lets me know, okay, Jannine, you don't have to be Minister Jannine with the title. Right. Be Jan.
Yeah. Be vulnerable.
Be Jan. Just represent Jan. Show them me. Show them me through your realness, who you really are. Yeah. Tell them what happened. Don't be ashamed, because you hiding behind the shame is just further promoting the enemy's kingdom.
Yeah.
Be real. Tell them what you did. Tell them what happened. Tell them how that went down. And you can see when it click in somebody's eyes. They don't have to say nothing, but you can see that click. And I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean?
You're on it now.
Yeah, so it's so amazing how God is just bringing all this stuff together.
He holds everything together.
It's
like, he's got the whole world in his hands. It's the truth. Like, I didn't understand that when I was younger. Here I am 36 years old. Now I'm starting to understand.
Right.
It's just so beautiful though. Yes. It's what Jannine was speaking about too, is I think it was like a year, or was it 6 months or something, or 8 months that when I met you? When was that talent show at City Life Church?
Oh my goodness. It
was a year. Was it a year prior?
Almost a year, yeah.
So I was there because I was doing what God told me to do. Like I was writing this godly poetry, that was pouring out of me from the things that I was going through that had healed me. Like writing to God helped heal me. So then I was like, I need to share this, So any chance that I could get on a mic, I would get on a mic. And Miss Jones had told me about this. Miss Jones, we've had her on this podcast before. I love her to death.
Yes,
She's my spiritual mother. I've known her for almost 20 years. I love her to death. But she had told me about the talent show at City Life Church. She's like, you need to, go over there and share some poetry. I was like, okay. So I went over there, and that's how I met Jannine. Because Jannine was sharing her gifts, and then Monica Grace was sharing her gifts, and we've had Monica on here a couple weeks ago. Kurt, I want to get Curtis on here. Yes. Curtis was sharing his gift. He's an incredible, talented poet, but amongst many other things, I mean, the dude is he's just a solid guy. I mean, he's fire. He's fire. But I mean, just the list goes on of the people that we were surrounding ourselves with within that talent show.
Yeah. And what was crazy, I wasn't going to even do the talent show because I did another one, and it was like, we got the talent show. I was like, okay. I said, I'll come be a support. But had I been disobedient, though,
yeah.
See,
if you let the enemy talk you out of doing it,
yeah.
Just think about that. Yes.
Had I been because I would have been in my little corner.
Yeah.
With my woe is me thing going.
Yeah.
And I would have missed out on what
on
God
all
had
this
already in play.
Yeah.
None of this happens if we don't do that. None of this happens.
Obedience.
And then of course there was probably things prior to that led to that.
Yeah.
And it's like that's how he works. It's like, wow, are you serious?
It's already mapped out.
Like he writes the best stories. You can't make this stuff up.
No.
You could sit there, you could try to have all these writers and they got this creativity. But really, he writes the best stories.
He does.
And it's like, I love not knowing what's going to happen. And the more you trust him and walk with him, the more he wants you to walk by faith, not by sight. Because when you do, he's going to show you something new every day. Every day is like, it's like you're truly living now.
Yeah.
And it's, but what it is though, is it has hit me is it's not about me. Once you realize it's not about you, you on to something. You got to die to yourself.
Yeah.
And even after you realize it, you still got to die to yourself every day because it might rise again. And you're like, hold on, am I making this about me?
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, we're not perfect. We're imperfect Christians, but everyone in that Bible was imperfect beside Christ.
Exactly.
And
that's why he said...
You don't have to be perfect. Come as you are.
And he said, I knew you weren't going to be perfect anyways. Romans chapter 8. So he said, I knew you weren't going to be perfect. That's why I came. Yeah. I knew all this about you. I knew you were going to be this way. I knew the mistakes you were going to make.
Yes.
I knew the ideas that were just going to blow your mind. I knew the pain you were going to feel. Matter of fact, I experienced pain, so I could tell you about that pain, so you can realize I've been through that too.
Yeah. Came in human form to feel it.
Felt I was abused. I was rejected. I was shunned away. I was mocked. I was ridiculed. I was judged.
Yes.
I had people love and adore me. I had those that hated me. We've experienced all that just as we live today. He went through all that in advance. So we can never say our God doesn't understand because he been through it all.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Wow. This is this is straight fire. Like this episode is just straight fire. Like, no, please don't be. Like, go ham. I love it. When
the hairs start flying, y'all know. I was like,
but even afterwards, so here we are, a couple weeks later, or maybe I don't even know how long it was, but we go to Revelations Cafe over there off of Del Mabry in Van Dyke. And the Holy Spirit shows out in there as well.
Just show it out.
My sister came, and Jennifer, who's also been on Better Gents, and you and her are building a relationship and through from the hope and healing. Mm-hmm. Then we meet Revelations Cafe. We meet the owners there. Then we end up like speaking to a family, about everything. They end up talking to us. They were having they were sharing some of their stuff with us as well, and it was just powerful.
It was crazy. The lady, when she walked in with her daughter-in-law and the baby, I looked at her, you know me, and I looked at her and I said, I saw grace on this lady. And so when I think you were about to get your drink or whatever, and the lady had came over to us. She was just drawn to us, and so I told her, I said, "Oh my goodness, I don't know what it is about you, but when I look at you, I see grace." Now, mind you, I told you I'm not that bold, right? I don't know what this new thing is, but okay. Jesus. But and she said, "That is so funny because that's one of my names, Grace."
Whoa.
Then the son, and so we were talking about David, and then the mom was like, "Well, we would want to hear one of his pieces," so we done volunteered him.
Yep.
You know, and he came over, but he connected with the son. The son shared him, and David was sit and we gonna minister, and he was ministering to the son, and that son, I know that son got a breakthrough because he did not look the same way he did when he came, when he walked in there. How he left, that boy was lighter.
Wow.
That mom you could see the joy oozing out of the mom.
Hours together
about
we
her
spent
child.
speaking.
Yes.
All of us.
That's amazing.
We shut the cafe down.
You're like,
We got
yo.
there. We got there at like 11:30 or something. And they closed at 4. We stayed till like 4:30.
We did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
We just shut it on down.
Can
Yo,
you extend your
it's
hours,
just-
please?
They need
It's
to
so
just have
edifying
It is.
when you get together with believers and you feel like a natural, like nothing that Red Bull or even cocaine could ever do. Like you just got it's just beyond, God is just, he just gives you this energy. Like when you get around other believers that just like picks you up. I mean, you could hear it in our voice right now. We're charged up.
Yes.
It's like, he's like just a power source,
Yeah.
love, strength, energy. Like he's the only sustainable source.
It's like those paddles in the hospital. I think I told. Was it you? I told you. Like the paddles when they go clear. That's what it feels like. That charge,
Yes.
like being brought back to life.
Yes.
I never thought I'd get back to this. To me, I mean, though I was on the platform back home and speaking and all that stuff, to me, this is ministry. To me, I'm really being myself and being who he purposed me to be. I was telling Coach, I was like, when I read the Bible now, I was like, it's like I never read the Bible. And I know I used to preach to people.
Wow.
But now I'm like reading stuff like with Romans 8. I was like, what?
Yeah.
When did you say that, Jesus? You know what I mean? Like, wait a minute. Oh, come on, God. You knew?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like because I got from under the stigma and the expectations of other people.
Yeah.
And I told God, I just want you.
Yeah.
By any means necessary.
Wow.
And if it means that I have to be stripped from whatever to be built back up, then so be it.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that and a relationship with him and real relationship where I can really present myself to other people.
Yeah.
And not be who I think others want me to be, but just be me.
Yeah.
So I can love on them the way that I want to love on them, which is his way. You know what I mean? And then just to see what happens when I just do that, it's like, it's kind of makes me nervous because I'm like, this little tingly thing, this thing working.
Holy
You know
Spirit.
what I mean? Right. Activate, for real. It's just like, it's just a mind blowing because I'm like, I'm telling you, when you walked up there, I don't know if you saw me when I turned around, I literally felt like, just take me to heaven. I felt, just make me Elijah. I'm ready. Because that right there lets me know, God, there's really a method to the madness.
Right.
Yeah.
Joy in the chaos.
Exactly. Love that. Ooh.
In a song.
I love it. Yes.
I just want to share this really quick.
No, take your time.
So
We got 20 minutes. Well,
morning-
for you, and whenever you're ready to go.
I shouldn't even look at the clock.
Yeah.
It's okay. So this morning I woke up and I was one of 4 people in Tampa that didn't have electricity this morning.
Okay.
I wake up at 4. And immediately anxiety rushed over me.
Okay.
I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get ready? How am I going to go to the gym? How am I going to put my eyebrows on in the morning? How am I going to do my hair?
Yes.
How am I going to cook my breakfast? Everything.
Okay.
And like I prayed about it right there and God's like, yo, you don't got to wake up yet. You got 30 more minutes. So I laid back down, snoozed my alarm, and then I woke up and I had to carry around my flashlight on my phone. Solely me and my flashlight trying to do my job, like get dressed in the morning, get my protein or like my pre-workout, all this stuff. And it was so challenging as I'm like trying to hold my little light. And so getting like, I can't start my day off like this. Come on, stop coming at me. And finally I am in my kitchen again with my flashlight doing my pre-workout. And I finally am like, okay, just get on your knees. And so here I am in my kitchen.
There it is.
on my knees praying, and I was like, I had texted MJ. I was like, yo, I don't have electricity until 8:20. 8:20. It is 5:18 in the morning. So I texted MJ. Obviously, she's asleep, so she ain't going to respond. So I start praying, and I'm like, Lord, please, whoever you sent to work on this light pole to give me electricity, please just be with them so that they can get.
Wow. Come on.
Like literally in the middle of me praying, all of a sudden I heard it all, and it all just came on, and there was light. And so literally that right there just showed like how hard life is when you're in the dark.
Yes.
And when you are going with your flesh, when you are
Yes.
solely
What a
relying on you.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, literally, I had joy. I literally went to my strength and healing book. I put on my worship music, and I just spent the next 10 minutes with him. And I said, thank you so much. And immediately I had that joy.
Yeah.
And it was crazy how fast it was when I was solely was relying on myself to give me that light.
Yeah.
Went to him, and he gave me that light.
Wow.
That's powerful.
That is an awesome story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for letting me share. Yeah, it was,
Oh, man.
can't rely on just me.
It just reminds me of that scripture, like, don't worry about anything, pray about everything. I think it's in
Wow.
Philippians.
Literally, yes.
Yes, and
Yes.
it's like that really is where it's at. So when you start to feel that worry, cast it on him. Pray. You know, go to God. He wants you to increase your faith. He wants you to lean on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's like a great opportunity every time you're going through something. I mean, of course, you don't wait till you're just going through stuff to talk to him. But, you know, like, I mean, when you're in the valley or you're going through something, talk to him. Talk to him. He'll guide you out of there. He'll get you, like, he turned your lights on.
Right. Literally.
You know, like, it's like, really?
Right. And in an hour, not the 4 hours
Exactly.
that the flesh projected me, in an hour.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yo, like, this is just incredible.
Blows my mind.
I'm telling you. There was something else that I had wrote down here that I wanted to bring up too. I think we had spoke on numbers.
Yes.
We started talking about 7 was the number of completion.
Yes. 8 new beginnings.
8 was new beginnings and hope.
Mm-hmm.
And we left the cafe
Mm-hmm.
and a dove flew over.
Oh, yeah.
So it was almost like I remember, like, we spoke about it.
My son in whom I'm pleased.
Yes.
This is a great conversation.
Like
and
confirmation.
Yes. And it's crazy though, because I was telling him, I look at every single solitary thing in nature, anything around me. I pay attention to it. I've always been like that. I never understood when I was little, but now I get it. And so if I see a dove, I know that's his seal of approval.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, a dove. I was like, I hope you don't think I'm crazy. I was like, I will stop. I don't care who I'm with. There's a dove. It's a white one. Oh, you know what I mean? Or if I see a dragonfly, transformation. You know what I mean? Stuff like that I'm learning to pick up on, because I know he speaks to us in all things.
Wow.
And it really was. It was like, because you had just finished talking with that son.
Absolutely.
So to see that dove and everything, I was like, oh, God, you are so pleased. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Just phenomenal. And then when we spoke on numbers, so like here we are, like a week later, my son's starting his first football season that he was been eligible to play because COVID like shut him down, and he had really bad grades his 9th grade year because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. You know, like they kind of sent them home with all the work, and he ended up failing. So he spent like 3 years trying to recover. So he's back now. He's finally eligible to play. He's playing this year. And what number does he come out with? Number 8, new beginnings, hope.
Yeah. I know you like the lost it when you saw that.
But yeah, it tied everything together because Jannine had just told me about the number 8.
Yeah.
And then, the significance of numbers kind of started like when you're telling me about 22. And then I started like paying more attention to numbers. And I think that's what led to our conversation to actually speak about numbers, and it's just, wow. It's like, and I'm like, if that's not like God again, just number 8.
Yeah.
Just
powerful. That's right there in your face. He knew you was going to know exactly what that meant.
Undeniable.
Yeah.
Literally undeniable.
I'm telling you.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You can catch all of our episodes on YouTube and Spotify at Better Gents Podcast, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Better Gents Pod. Thank you and take care.